What's up, crazy people? It's Nick Teller. This is Band Management Lesson 3, Touring / Press Kits. Now, what we talked about last lesson was actually make an EP for your first show. Another point of making is to have an EP actually helps you out when you're trying to book shows. Now, if this is going to be your first show as, whatever band you're going to be in, a lot of venues are very scared to take you up because they don't know how big your fan base is, at least the serious venues. The easiest way for that to get into the easiest venues, or the bigger venues, is to piggyback with other bands. Now, if you guys have friends in bands, try to do that. If you guys like certain bands, you can send them, a demo. Once again, this is going to come into play a lot. And see if they like you, and see if you can make friends with other bands to say, hey, if you have any openings in the surrounding areas, we'd love to open up for you guys. Be very humble, especially when you first start out. Don't act, because once you get a street cred for being a jackass on the street, a lot of bands and even venues are going to get that really, really quick. Gossip moves really fast in the music world. But if you're trying on your own, then you're going to need what's called a press kit. And back in the day when I first started booking shows, MySpace had just got pretty big. Facebook was still a website only if you were in college, which knocked out a lot of people. But back in the day, a press kit was an actual physical folder of a black and white 8x10 glossy photo, headshots of all you guys, because the venues want to see what you guys look like. I'm sure they don't want to have a bunch of burly guys with Nazis tattooed, or Nazi signs tattooed on their forehead. It would have a bio, a group bio. It would show your influences if you didn't have an EP. Once again, this EP is going to come out a lot. Like venues, other bands, they just like hearing you, because when you go around and you didn't make that EP and you're like, oh, you should book us, we sound good. Well, what do you sound like? Well, we kind of sound like a cross of, Incubus and Tool. That's pretty vague. But when you have that EP, throw that in the press kit. Influences. Another good thing is that you should try to hit up newspapers. A lot of times each newspaper has like a local, the one here in Maryville is the Weekend, and the one in Knoxville is called the Metro Pulse. And they're trying to find new artists all the time. So if you approach these people with your own press kit, take like, just a really good shot of you guys, make it black and white, go to a Kinko's or an Office Depot, or even if you can do it at the house, a glossy piece of paper. Write your own bio about, don't blow smoke up your ass, just kind of show how you guys were created, where you guys met each other. Try to keep it within about 3 or 4 paragraphs. Another big thing about the press kit is that they don't really do the physical ones anymore, and I found that out years and years ago when you try to book your own show. A lot of venues, when you're not piggybacking on another band's tour, circuit, whatever, when you're just trying to make a headlining show for yourself, they wanted to see MySpace at the time, and then I guess Facebook, but then I don't really see Facebook being a music page. I've noticed that MySpace is still popular to this day with bands, because you can, have certain layouts. Facebook, you're just, plain white. I remember I tried to book a show, and I'm not going to name the place, but it was a really good venue, and it constantly stayed packed. It's closed now, but at the time, it was a very hot spot to play. A lot of college kids like to go there. And when I talked to the owner, he asked me, how many friends do you have on MySpace? And once again, this is before Facebook. And I think at the time we only had a couple hundred. He's like, well, come talk to me when you have about 2,000 or 3,000. And that blew my mind. That, he didn't even care. I guess it's a shorthand version. I'm sure all the venues don't do this, but it kind of just proves a point. Okay, these people must like you. You must be decent enough to bring in some money. Because they're hoping that not only the people in the city will come and see you, but surrounding areas. They want to make sure that you're, because they could have booked into a bigger band and made more money, because the venue is just looking out for themselves. I'm going to tell you something right now. Back in the day we did this. It's illegal, but we didn't use it to the illegal extent. There's these things called Spambots, and you know. Those cache, caches or cache, whatever they're called. When you have to type in, DZLB3, that's to ensure that you're human, because Spambots can do what we're about to talk about. We purchased a Spambot for about 50 bucks, and what it did was we just typed in a zip code in MySpace, and it found all 607 people, and it just started friend requesting them, and we would have a preset message saying, hey, we're this band, come check us out, this is our new single. And you see it all the time on MySpace and Facebook, but it would friend request people 5 at a time, and it saved us a lot of typing. And each band member used to have to do that, every night. And every 5th person, it would show the cache, and you'd have to sit there and type. So you kind of had to be around the computer. But we were gaining about 100 or 200 people a night, which was amazing, depending on how much effort we put, and our friends skyrocketed. Is that relevant? I don't know. With this new day of age, venues are taking their clients differently than they used to, because traditionally you would, almost pay your manager or an agent to go and try to book shows for you, and they would try to hype you up and say, oh, well, this is the band I'm representing, this is their press kit. That physical form is like folders. I'm sure that bookers are loving the fact that they don't have a desk full of a bunch of folders now, and that they can just check on websites and kind of do their own research. Go around your venues in your local town and kind of find out how they're, weeding out the process to book. And then, if it's a venue that you're trying to get, ask them, and most of the time they'll tell you, and just work hard. If you need to get more friends, if you need to have word of mouth before you can actually play that venue, you may have to start another one. I can tell you right now, I've played in a lot of dives. I've played in a venue one time in Johnson City where the only people that were there was our stage crew and the other band, and that was it. So pretty much we just drove all the way up there to play in front of another band. And that's about it for the touring. Not about it, but as much as I can say right now. The press kits, we talked about that. Try to hit up your newspapers, because even if you don't put them in physical press kits, you can still use them on the website. You always see them in certain quotes. Try to take quotes that are flattering, but don't make up your own quotes. That's the whole purpose of quotes. And then the writer, the newspaper. Try to have a lot of professional photos. And one thing that you're going to have to do is make a website. And I don't really feel like making its own band management lesson about a website, because you should already know. If you can't make a website, and most of the time you have other stuff to do, hire a web designer, unless you want to get in there and do JavaScript or C++ or any other kind of even HTML. Hire somebody to do that for you, about $100, $200. Give them a theme. Most of the time, a lot of these web designers are their own graphic designers. As long as you give them what color schemes and what kind of look, they'll actually develop something for you, and hopefully it's in the included price. A website, a demo, and some news press about the demo would be nice. You can invite, once you start playing shows, you can invite newspapers to come and see you live. A lot of them probably won't do it, but just never really know. There's a lot of independent newspapers over there, and they probably have a lot of scouts. But all these things help you when you're booking shows. If you're not into that and you're just wanting to pay a booking agency, they will take a percentage of each show. And theoretically, say for instance you're from California or you're from Texas, you have no idea what are the best venues are in Nashville, Chicago, Tampa Bay. You don't really know. So you're kind of at the mercy of these bookers, and you pay them money, they make money when you make money, so they're going to see what the hotspots are, and usually they have an ear to the ground in every town, and they'll try to find not only the best venue for you, but the best for your genre. If you're wanting to do that, that's cool. Remember that traveling is fun, but it does take a lot of money. You're thinking about gas, hotel rooms. If you don't know anybody in town, you're going to be staying in a hotel room unless you guys all want to sleep in the van, which, you know, you guys can rough it. I've done that. It's fun at first, but after a couple tours, it's not that fun. That's about it for the touring and press kits. I'm trying to think of anything else that I can think of. The best way you can start off is just to ask to open up for other bands, because when bands have momentum and they've been out there a couple years and they can actually make headlining shows, whether local or, you know, regional, sometimes, you know, they'll take the same band with them and they'll just be like, you know, you guys help each other out. But sometimes they may come into town and they don't know anybody, and just kind of look on rosters. A lot of time venues will say, you know, need an opening band. Just kind of get, not buddy, don't go there and try to act cool and shit, but just get to know your bookers around town. And if you're really serious about this and you're wanting to do this by yourself without hiring a booking agent, the best thing I can say is go to your favorite spots that you already see music bands, and ask for the booker. Most of the time, sometimes it's the sound guy. So you just kind of ask around, try to not seem like creepy or anything like that, but just want to meet him, shake his hand, get to know him, and then ask him if he has any shows that he still needs bands for. And once you get into the music business, you'll start getting to know bands, especially playing with them. You'll get to know venues. You'll get to know exactly, you know, once you get on the road for, say for instance, a 15-stop tour, you're kind of get to know what to bring, what to do, what to expect. When you start playing shows, I'm going to tell you this right now, nothing ever goes right. I know it sounds pessimistic, but expect something to go wrong at every show. At least if you're expecting that, you'll kind of, you know, just prepare twice as much. Extra chords, extra strings, extra picks, a tuner. If you play with tube amps, I know this is really awkward, or not awkward, but just kind of far-fetched, but extra tubes, because you never really know. Always have a surge protector. They make them in rack form. Even if you know, most likely you're going to have a surge protector, because you're going to have, if you're an intricate player, you're going to have effects, you're going to have a pedal board, you're going to have a head. If you have a wireless system, I'm sure that will, you know, that'll take a plug. But if you have surge protectors, really good ones, if you ever play in a storm and lightning happens to hit the local grid or even the venue itself, it's going to protect your gear from shorting out, because venues don't really, you know, make insurance policies for that. Always have backup guitars in case something happens. You never know when they drop and break. Go slow. Don't tour the country when you guys are about 6 months old. Start in your local city and just start there. When booking shows, what I typically like to do is book a show a month. It constantly keeps you in the public's eye, but it also gives you enough time to work on new material, because any more than that, then you kind of, you know, if you play every week or become a house band or something like that, it's not really that exciting. If you play a show a month, you kind of see that people aren't really that excited. Do a show every 2 months. But constantly keep in people's mind that, you know, you guys are really trying, and start with local cities, start in your hometown, start in nearby cities. One of the biggest mistakes people make is when they go regional, they'll try to hit maybe 3 cities per state, and then they'll just travel around, and then they'll do that maybe once a year. And that's too long for people. You know, say for instance I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and I saw you guys, and then I didn't see you guys for another year. That's a long time, and I could have forgot about you or even changed tastes in music. If you guys are in a college town, like Knoxville is with UT, be expecting to lose fans annually, because people are graduating, they just kind of go around the world. Now if you guys are in a city that's pretty much, you know, its own, that's cool. You guys are going to pretty much have fans, hopefully for a couple years. But with College Town, it's really hard because it's constantly changing. People are coming in. It's nice because you can just kind of have constant fresh fans every year, but at the same time you're losing them. So that's about it. I'm gonna go with a bonus video for this, and I'm about to end right now. But the bonus video is a unique story about a band that got signed out of Knoxville, and I'm gonna tell you how they did it, which was pretty unique because it saved them a lot of trouble, and it's just a really good story. So that's about it for this one. If you guys have any questions, comment below. I'm going to have a website that actually shows venues around the US, and even a couple websites with booking agents, so you guys can check that out. So thanks for listening. I'll see you later.